I moved away and changed my number when I did it. I'd up the cut and you offered make me feel different. I know I'm weak.
Nick Meaney starred for the Storm, scoring all of his team's 14 second-half points to lift his side to a 26-20 win over the Cowboys. Meaney scored a second-half double and kicked 3 goals to help Melbourne overcome a 18-12 deficit. The Storm were missing several players either through Origin duty or injury, and trotted out a new look and reshuffled backline. Despite this, the class of Meaney, Jarom Hughes, and Eli Katoa shone through. Meaney started at fullback with Ryan Papenwyzen out. Broncos star Adam Reynolds believes the Storm are a scary proposition as they have much more to offer. I think they're going under the radar because everyone just expects them to be there, Reynolds said. Part of me thinks they're in second gear still and they're just waiting for the finals to come around. It was a seesawing contest. Both teams exchanged tries in the first half which resulted in a 12-12 scoreline at the break. In the first half, the Cowboys were awarded a controversial try despite some bunker confusion after winger Rob Derby bobbled the ball before grounding it. Derby was able to get his hand back on the ball before planting it down, but it was clear he lost control of it in the process. The bunker's explanation was there was no clear angle of separation but that angle there. Big hits. Melbourne shuffle. The Storm were forced into a raft of changes before kickoff, rolling out a near unrecognizable side with no Cameron Munster, Harry Grant and Ryan Papenwyzen among the long list of outs. Even without the typical cast of superstars, Melbourne looked dangerous with Jarom Hughes pulling the strings in attack. Hughes took on almost all of the kicking duties but it was his passing game that impressed, throwing a pearler to Nick Meaney for a game-leveling try in the second half. Drinky's roller coaster. As the only member of North Queensland's spine playing in his regular position, Drinkwater shouldered more responsibility than just the captaincy. The Rocks and Diamonds fullback had his fair share of both minerals, but his value in attack exceeded any defensive shortcomings. Drinkwater set up both of the Cowboys' first-half tries before giving his side their first lead 10 minutes after the break when he finished off an opportunity created by Jake Clifford. But the fullback had a moment to forget that led to Melbourne's second try when he inexcusably pulled out of taking a catch, allowing the ball to bounce and fall back into Melbourne's hands. It took no time for Nelson Asofa Solomona to barge over the line from close range, leaving Drinkwater shaking his head at the mistake. Double debut. Both teams handed out NRL debuts, with North Queensland's Temple Kalipo and Melbourne's Salaji Tumalata Brown making their first appearance at this level. Storm winger Salaji Tumalata Brown became just the 6th Victorian to represent the Storm in the NRL, while Kalipo made a good impact off the interchange when he came on to take over at dummy half. Heart, hustle, and the heat of Origin. It wasn't just the scoreboard that told the story, it was the bruises, the busted lip, and the fierce stare of Reece Walsh as he pulled Queensland back from the brink. In the cauldron of Origin football, where legends are either made or broken, Walsh didn't just return, he rewrote the narrative. Under the blinding lights of Suncorp Stadium, with over 50,000 fans holding their breath, he carried the ball like it was a lifeline for the entire state. He dodged defenders, outpaced veterans, and set the tone with every electric run. But it wasn't just about skill. It was the moment he stood up after a bone-rattling tackle, blood trickling down his cheek, and waved off the trainers. That was when everyone knew the boy had become a warrior. He roared back into the Origin arena with the fury of a storm, not only to play but to lead. And when the final whistle blew and Queensland stood tall in a stunning 22-18 comeback win, it wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Reece Walsh had returned, not just in body, but in spirit. For fans, this wasn't just about rugby. It was about redemption, resilience, and reigniting the passion that fuels State of Origin. Reece reminded us all that heroes aren't made in calm waters, they're forged in fire. And the Origin fire? It's burning hotter than lava.